you that this morning we have got a session that is going to be useful for everybody, whether you've already reopened, if you're in Ireland, or if you're about to reopen on the 4th of July. So this morning's session is how to reduce back to work anxiety, which I'm sure a lot of us are feeling at the moment. And this session is supported by Wella Professionals. So if you want any help on how to deal with back to work anxiety after this session, you can go to education.wella.com, which you'll find in the comments of our stream. And this morning I'm thrilled you'll be able to see on your screens already, but I'm thrilled to say that we have got Daniel Couch, who's the head of colour at Russell Eaton, and you can find him on Instagram at Daniel Couch Hair. And we've also got Sarah Mason from Sarah Mason Professional, who's Sarah Mason Creative on Instagram, and she's based in Ireland, so her salon has literally just reopened within the past couple of days, and both of them have got some real insights to share with us today about how to deal with that back to work anxiety, which I think is going to be useful for everyone. So we'll start off with chatting to Daniel and to Sarah, and then we'll kind of jump in with all of your questions. So if you've got any questions, please do share them with us, and we'll be able to talk them through with you. And it's an open forum. Tell us ahead of time if you want to remain anonymous, or if you're happy to for us to read out your name as well. So first of all, so welcome Daniel and Sarah. It's great to have you both with us this morning.
Thank you.
Bright and early, I have to say. We've done this session a little bit earlier to accommodate the fact that Sarah has got a full list of clients today in the salon. And I'm sure for Daniel, it's been an earlier start getting him ready for going back to the salon when you reopen. Fantastic. Well, I guess everyone's probably feeling a bit anxious at the moment, and it is a little bit of the unknown, isn't it? So maybe should we kick off with you, Daniel, explaining how you're feeling and how somebody can recognize how they're feeling anxious about going back to work?
Definitely. So I'm definitely feeling some trepidation about returning to work. I've got a yoga class booked the night before I go back to try and help me sleep. So
great idea, great tip there.
It's definitely, for me, it works. Anxiety is really your body's reaction to stress. So we can notice key symptoms that everyone will experience. On their own, you can sometimes forget about them, but together they can cause slightly more problems. So you would be looking at things like an inability to concentrate, having a kind of restless thought pattern. You can also have lightness of breath, not being able to catch your breath, or being able to breathe fully and feeling that you're shallow breathing. That can be another symptom. We also look at things like nausea, sickness, an upset stomach, even down to heart palpitations and restless legs. These are all symptoms of anxiety that can, on their own, be kind of forgotten about to a degree and just put down to everyday work stress. But when they are a symptom of anxiety, they're things that you want to really learn to look at and manage.
Yeah.
So they don't build too big and get out of control.
And I guess there might be people out there, Daniel, who wouldn't normally be a naturally anxious person, but they might well be feeling anxious at the moment. So they might not understand what these feelings are.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember that 16% of the UK population are affected by a common mental health problem every year. And 1 in 6 people a week experience a minimal mental health problem. So that's stress or anxiety. So it is something that we will all feel at some point. And now, returning to work, we're going into an environment that is slightly more high stress. So for me, that's where the importance of understanding your own anxiety and your own body is really of an important thing to look at.
Definitely. Well, if you are feeling anxious, and obviously, Daniel, you're in this boat because you'll be going back into the salon. Salons in England open up on the 4th of July, don't they? So how can people kind of prepare for going back to work while feeling those that kind of anxious emotions and feelings and
so as we
worry?
discussed earlier, for me, the real 3 important things are to recognize, exercise, and prepare. So I would say exercise is going to be the next most important thing. If you are in a situation where you are highly stressed or you feel a lot of anxiety, introducing a really simple breathing exercise is one of the fastest ways to calm your body down, to lower your blood pressure, and just to make life a bit easier. And do you want me to talk you through one?
Yes, please, definitely. Maybe we can all have a go. Sarah, we can both do it, can't we?
A classic breathing exercise for me would be a box breathe. So it's a 4-step system. So you inhale for 4 seconds, and then you're going to hold that breath for 4 seconds, then breathe out for 4 seconds, and then rest for 4 seconds. And you're just repeating that cycle. And it is called diaphragmatic breathing. And it's just about slow, controlled breaths that are designed to reduce stress and anxiety in the body. And these can be traced back as far as 5,000 years ago. So it actually is proven to work.
Oh, fantastic. That's amazing, Daniel. So when do you, these breathing exercises, when do you put those into your day?
So for me, it's something that I have learned to do over the time. So if I've got a particularly stressful colour correction in, or I've got a client in that I know can be quite high anxiety, so I can enter into the situation with as much control, I will do it in the dispensary, I'll sit in the staff room for a minute. I think anytime you can introduce a couple of repetitions of a breathing exercise, it's going to make a difference in just controlling how you feel in a situation.
Definitely. So your plans for when you return to the salon, when will you be putting those exercises? Will you be doing it in the morning before?
I'll be doing them from the night before.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to going back. I'm so excited to get back into the creativity. I am nervous, so I will make sure that I'm trying to keep control of my emotion as much as possible. So it's something I will do regularly throughout the day. And there's a few other things. I have something that I call my mental health toolbox, which...
Let's hear about that. What's in your mental health toolbox?
Did you like that little segue?
I love that.
So for me, a mental health toolbox is something that everyone should have at their disposal. And it is just a simple group of exercises that you can create to manage and prepare for anxious situations. So it's things like breathing. A breathing exercise can physically reduce levels of anxiety. A positive playlist, listening to music that invokes happy emotion, has a profound effect on you, and it can make you feel so much better in a situation. And there's also understanding your own body and recognizing your triggers. These are two really big things for me. If you can understand what makes you nervous, or if there's a situation that you might feel more anxiety in, it allows you to prepare for that situation. And ultimately, which I hate doing, but exercise is one of the most important things. Even, I'm not saying go run a marathons every week. Even if you leave the salon on your lunch break and do a 5-minute walk up the street, it will clear your mind. It's going to release endorphins, and it's just going to allow you to feel a little bit more fresh, less stress, less anxiety.
And definitely, and I guess with the whole PPE thing, it would also, if you get out of the salon on your break, you'll be able to take the PPE off for a few moments and just do the breathing exercises and, you know, feel.
There's nothing with PPE because it's quite enclosed and warm. Another great tip I would say is just on our wrist point. If you run that under cold water, it's proven to cool the body down, and it's one of the fastest ways to do that. So if you're feeling it's getting a little bit too hemmed in and it all feels very close, having a breathing exercise, running your pressure points under cold water is just a really good way of cooling your body temperature down and just getting a handle on things before anything becomes too overwhelming.
That's a great tip. And I guess you could just slip away from your client for a minute or so and go and do that. Wash your hands, use your sanitizer, and come back.
I think as a team as well, we work together so closely. If you know you've got a colleague who's possibly feeling a little bit more anxious than you are, this is where we step in and help each other out a little bit. If you mix someone's tint up for them while they're doing having 5 minutes, it's just about pulling together as a team, recognizing that some of us might feel a little bit more anxious than others, and ultimately supporting each other through the transition.
Definitely. And obviously, Daniel, you're the head of colour at Russell Eaton, so you've got a big team behind you as well. So are there kind of ways that you'll be able to spot or identify team members who might be struggling? Or
we at Russell Eaton, we work really hard to keep a very tight relationship. So we socialise together, we go and do bottomless brunches, and we try and get them in quite frequently. So I think we're really good at recognising each other. And there's also, in every salon, there's going to be people who are closer to other people. So we're all pretty good at giving someone a nudge if we think someone might need a little 5 minutes to themselves. But on the whole, we tend to be, it's quite a smooth salon to work in. It's not particularly high stress, considering how busy we are. So
brilliant. And obviously we are now on a countdown for you, and obviously Sarah is already back in the salon. So what will you be doing over the next couple of days in the lead up to it before we move on to Sarah telling us how it's been in reality for her?
So for us now, everything's in place. PPE's bought, salon is set up and ready to go. So over the next couple of days, it's just going to be one-to-one training with staff via Zoom about PPE, expectations. We made the decision to open on the Saturday, so we're fully booked for the best that we can be around social distancing. So it's just reiterating to everyone in the team what plans are in place and how things are going to work.
Amazing. And I guess we've got the lovely Sarah sat with us as well, haven't we? So hello there, Sarah.
Hi, everybody.
Great to see you from your gorgeous backdrop in your salon in Ireland.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Great to be back. Great to be back.
Do you want to maybe talk us through how you were feeling before reopening and how you've put some of the things that Daniel's been talking about into practice for you and your team over the past couple of days now that your doors are finally open?
Well, absolutely. But you know, Laura, like, I can't thank Daniel enough, because we did it live ourselves and he gave me his toolbox before this all happened. And you know what? I did use it, Daniel. I think that definitely salon owners and, you know, the teams definitely could put it into practice. I certainly am here. I suppose, you know, and I know anyone in Ireland that's listening today and anyone in the UK, and I can obviously offer a little bit of advice, you know, before the date of opening, there was quite a short span, and I had decided to do a little bit of a refurb. So the anxiety levels and trying to work through client lists and everything were a little bit higher than normal. The reality of opening the door, I think really we're seeing, like for me here, definitely in my salon, I'm seeing a different setting. And induction for me is key. And I would say to any salon owner, just spend time. I wrote a full 20-page induction for my team, and I literally broke down the salon from the front door to the back door. And that's the one thing I would say that would lessen anxiety. And for me, it was to try and rebuild the confidence of our team to be able to kind of deal with the daily challenges that we may see. And I mean, like we had one little challenge yesterday where we've asked our clients to kind of come in when they come to the door, they all have to wear a mask. And the door was left unlocked yesterday, and a client arrived at the salon with no mask, and everything just went, you know. And it was, it was the first kind of, right? And I just seen the salon, you know, the staff just scatter, right? So, like, to me, I think we need to kind of diminish the panic a little bit. You know, I think in the West, we're very lucky with numbers. So it's like, you know, things are a little bit more relaxed here at the minute, and there hasn't been many cases here for a while. So we're very lucky. But salon life and salon setting and controlling your business, I think, is very, very important. And watching the timing of your clients, giving yourself a little bit more time for things, spacing things out, don't rush. And then see how you can manage. And I think the real telltale for our business will be at the weekend, where I have another award-winning stylist alongside me. My Roisin Hines will be here with me, and that both of us will be quite heavily booked, but we have timed it that we won't have too many people in the salon.
Yeah.
So I really think I'm just going to kind of go back, because I've kind of given you a summary of kind of how things are. So first of all, the induction on Monday, we didn't actually open the salon on Monday the 29th.
That was the date. That was the official date that you were allowed to reopen. But you made the decision not to reopen on that Monday.
I just felt I wanted that day to be a celebration for my team to meet. None of them knew that I had done a little refurb. They all arrived in. They all really died of shock. They couldn't believe, totally different salon. And it was great for them to feel, okay, for me, it felt like I'm reopening a brand new business. And I felt the mixed emotions between adrenaline, excitement, and fear can play an awful lot. And I think what Daniel has written is very prevalent, that it's quite important in your business to have something in place. And during my induction, I covered, you know, obviously from client contact to how a staff member might be feeling, and to try and kind of diminish, you know, all that. And like, I've written literally a phone script. Like when we answer the phone, we tell the client what to expect, where the sanitized stations are. There's no magazines, there's no tea and coffee. We'll serve water, there's Wi-Fi, all those things. So giving your client base as much information as possible before they come through the door. It's going to stop your stylists having to actually physically talk about it constantly on the salon floor. We've actually had, yesterday we had our first day of business. There was no talk about COVID in our salon yesterday. Absolutely none. It was fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. And I think it brought a positive effect. Yeah, it was. I was like, woohoo.
Yeah.
To me, that was a victory, because some people don't want to talk about it. And we are trying to create a non-COVID environment. We know we're going to be dealing with lots of mixed emotions. And I think that was why my induction was so important. I have told my team if they need to take 5 minutes away to do Daniel's exercise, to take a breath, to go outside. We're lucky we do have a backyard, so they can go out quickly if they kind of feel a little bit anxious.
Yeah.
They can go out for they all went out and had a little walk yesterday. I didn't, of course, pot calling kettle black.
Of course, yes.
Honest to God,
make sure you do that today, Sarah. You've got to follow that advice that Daniel suggested.
Honest to God, I was doing my exercise in the car. Daniel's couch in my head. But do you know what? What I will say on a very positive note, the most fabulous thing was seeing clients coming through the door. I've had flowers, I've had bottles of wine, bottles of champagne. The clients, the victory of them coming through your door, of realizing how much they missed you. I've had clients come and they've tears in their eyes, even with the calls, the emotion that they're so happy just to get that call, and they're so grateful. I haven't had one call where I've said, God, that wasn't, I wasn't happy how that went. And
like
that
seeing those, definitely, and seeing those familiar faces again should hopefully
fabulous
anxiety as well.
Yeah. What I would say for anyone in the UK is, because obviously most salons, I'm presuming kind of 98% of salons have opened. Some people may have done a bigger refurb than me and they're still probably not open. I know there's one here in Galway. I just seen it up online. She's probably not open for another week or two. So, but what I would say to you guys in the UK, it's ahead of you, and for all the teams, is don't panic. You need to calm, but it's very important that you keep the control elements. We are in control of it now, and it's lovely to be able to spend a little bit more time. For me, as a very busy stylist, I was always a back-to-back stylist. I always looked around the salon floor and always had 5 faces looking at me, and I've always been jumping from one client to the other, and I've cut that out now. And it's just bliss sitting doing a haircut for a full hour. I'm really enjoying that. I really enjoyed my work yesterday.
Oh, so fantastic. That's great positive news to hear, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
And from what you've both been saying, it'll be interesting to get both your takes on this. But do you think that in order to reduce anxiety, is preparation key?
I think preparation's key for everything.
Yeah.
I think especially for anxiety, because anxiety has a habit of sneaking up on us. Sometimes we end up feeling extremely anxious without realizing we're on the way to that end point.
Yeah.
So sometimes if you're prepared for that and you understand your own body and how you feel in certain situations, it allows you to take away that surprise element.
Yeah, definitely.
I think to have very clear direction, Laura, is key. And I think for me, from we're dealing with the end of your team from all different age groups. Some of them are we have some that are have literally started in the industry, and some of them that are in the industry a long time. And I think, as you know, with client base, like, you never know what's going to come through the door. And I think it's trying to prepare your team for that the best you can. And preparation is absolute key. I like, my business wouldn't have happened the way it did so positively if I didn't put the work in and to prepare the team and to give them a few scenarios. So, like, one of the scenarios I said, like, okay, let's talk about skin testing. You need to reskin test your client. They may have been in hospital. They may have been on a lot of medicine. They may have put 2 home colors in their hair. They may be still not feeling the best. They may be feeling anxious. Like, there's 1,000 things that one person might be feeling that we're unaware of. And I think creating awareness, I think, is very, very important.
Definitely. And that's a great point, actually, Sarah. And again, a question to both of you. I mean, as a stylist, you might well be feeling anxious, but how do you prevent yourself from putting that anxiety onto your client and making sure you come across as your most confident self, so that the client feels more comfortable sat in your chair?
I would, in practice, just try and take deep breath, get on the shop floor and focus on the work that I'm doing. And as Sarah said, just try and keep it a bit of a COVID-free zone. But I think Sarah can probably answer that better in the reality now.
Well, what I would say and what I've said to my team is, as difficult as it is, we have a space where we can have that anxiety. Our salon floor is a stage, that's how I was trained, and we have to perform on that stage. And I think no matter what you're feeling, I know sometimes it's difficult. If somebody can't hide something, then they need to be allowed to leave the floor for 5 minutes to be able to gather their thoughts. For me, I was always trained that, you know, listen, you left your whatever was going on in your life at the back door, the front door, wherever, but that we have to perform. And at the end of the day, I think the one thing that I was saying to my team is, no more than getting too involved in that conversation of anxiety, it's to sometimes change the mindset of what goes on, so that sometimes conversation can trigger different things. And my thing with conversation is to try and keep it hair focused. You know, and for a client to maybe get stuck into kind of telling them how it was in lockdown, to try and rein it back into, okay, well, let's stay in the present now. What are we going to do with your hair now? And I think for me, no judgment. I mean, we have a full, and I know at Russell Eaton it's been the same. We have a no judgment policy. We have been putting it out, and clients have actually been watching my own lives with me saying that, listen, if you did something, you just need to tell us what it is. We'll figure it out and then we'll move on from it. We're not going to focus too much, you know, it's not going to be in-depth focus on that. But look, I think sometimes as hairdressers, we should have all gone to acting school at the start, because you have to get on and smile. They want to see Sarah smiling. I think you need to put it, like, for me, there's nothing more fabulous than to see a spring in someone's step, and that makes us feel good. And I think when you make a client feel good, to me yesterday, I'd actually one client, she is a TV presenter, and she came into me for a fringe trim. And I just said, you know, I'm actually going to colour your hair now, because she was okay for her skin test. And I said, she'd been with us right before lockdown. And you know what? She nearly had tears in her eyes when she left, because she was just so happy that I actually just made the time for her. And I just thought, I know she's out in the street, she's in the public eye. I just felt, you know what? She needs to be looked after. She's been out in the street every day working hard, no more than our doctors and our frontline workers. You know, it's nice to be able, they don't need to hear about our story. And I would be very I think that has to be the way it is.
And I guess it's about giving everyone a positive experience, isn't it? And making sure they enjoy their time sat with you, being pampered, talking about the hair and talking about everything in a positive, looking forward to the future. And I guess that should help with the way you're feeling in terms of your anxiety, as well, if you put that positive spin on everything.
Do you know, the funny thing is, what I'd say, so like yesterday when I just applied my colour, and we had a basket of magazines, and I went to actually dive into the basket, and the basket was
without thinking. And
I just went, I have advised them all to bring a device of their choice. We're not advising newspapers and magazines of their own. I have said to a client, if they do bring a newspaper, that they have to put it in their bag when they go to the basin, and that they can't lend it to another client. But we prefer they didn't. But we're not saying no, but that we don't have it. But I think just even some of the clients, they didn't even know. I was amazing actually even watching where normally a client might be sipping through their phone. Some clients just sat staring in the mirror, that just couldn't believe that they were here. They didn't even speak. And I thought that was like, it was nearly a bit bizarre, because I thought I think they were just thinking, I can't believe I'm here. And I don't even think their brain was thinking anything. It was
they probably felt like they'd gone to Disneyland or something.
Yeah, they were just staring. And I can, for someone that's very vocal, I actually do go quiet. I do like to kind of sit and just concentrate. But I would tell anyone, like all the salon owners, look, make your Wi-Fi available for them. Try and make life easy. It'll make life easier for you if they do know that they don't have to just sit there and stare at you. You know that they can plug in and not have to ask, little things like that.
Definitely. Well, we've had Eileen has said she has many techniques to help her with anxiety, from full abdominal breathing, looking around for 5 things that she can see, and it helps with grounding herself. So that's
amazing. That's a great technique.
Definitely. And then we've had someone else say, can someone tell me if we have to take clients' temperature? I can't see it on the guidelines.
I don't think it's on the guidelines, is it?
No,
It's not here in Ireland.
Yeah.
No.
And I guess if it's not on the official government guidelines, I guess that becomes a choice thing, doesn't it? For you
I think
to make that decision.
I would say for me, I would look at your local area. If you're in a local area that sits slightly higher on contact figures, then maybe the more you can do to protect yourself and your clients, the better. But
yeah,
I think the guidelines are, if it's not on the guidelines, I wouldn't stress yourself out too greatly about it.
and to be honest, I think for a lot of people, it is these guidelines and the PPE that's causing this anxiety about going back to work, isn't it? Because they feel like they're not going back to their old workplace, they're going back to a new space with different rules. So what are your tips and advice for people that are kind of freaking out in a way about the PPE element and the different procedures and systems that they'll have to follow?
I would probably try and remember that, yes, the running of the salon might change, but it's still your home. It's still somewhere that you're very used to being in. So I wouldn't overly worry about what if. You know that when you go in that building, you know where everything is. You know how to get around. So there are little things that you can look at positively. Yes, you might be walking around in a mask, but at least you're not in a brand new salon searching for everything. Always trying to put a slight positive spin on things. And just remember that you can't control everything. Don't be wasting time and energy on what if. Think about what you can do in a situation. And even if it is one positive thing out of that, it's one more positive than a negative.
Definitely. Well, it's like what Sarah just said with the magazine. So I guess because they were in, you kind of forgot because that was so standard practice before to find a magazine. Yeah. But now you might think, oh, I'll move the magazines completely so that I'll forget about them.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah.
Do you know, Daniel,
that was a good learning.
That you're just saying there about the PPE is what I would advise you in the UK, guys, is start practicing wearing your masks. Because the first day, you know, halfway through the day, I was like, oh my goodness, this is, you know, it's when you're blow drying, you're trying to talk, it isn't as easy. I've actually found the medical mask actually the easiest because I can feel the air coming through. There are some with vents and stuff, but just tell your teams to just, you know, to practice wearing their masks and chat away to their friends or even be on the phone and just get a little bit of practice to take that anxiety away from that. I
think that's a great idea, isn't it? In these days running up to it, make it more normal. Is that what you're going to be doing, Daniel, with your team?
I've been practicing with my mask anyway because it's hot air. I've got warm air on your face. So it's something that I know I'm not going to enjoy. So I've been practicing. I've been sat in the living room watching television with face mask on. But I agree with Sarah. I think practicing your PPE is really important because that kind of fear and worry of how something might affect you can become quite debilitating if you don't get a handle on it. So to put the PPE on and know that, okay, it is going to feel warm, but I've only got small windows of wearing it, or this thing you can do is ultimately going to make it less of an uncomfortable experience.
Definitely. So it's about making it your normal, isn't it? And getting used to it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Fantastic. And the team training day seems like a great idea as well, because I think you're doing that as well, Daniel. I know, Sarah, you did that.
So we're doing all of ours online, but all of our staff have completed the Wella Professionals hygiene certificate on their education, and that goes through how to apply PPE, how to take it off safely and things like that. So we've got that, as well as we'll be doing individual Zoom conversations with staff talking about PPE and things like that. But we're lucky as our salon team, because it's quite a large salon, we have very specific roles. So our reception staff, they will be handling the movement of clients to and from. Hairdressers will be handling the hair. So it breaks it down a little bit, so it's less work for all one person to do.
Fantastic. And with Sean Jordan Barrack has said he works in a registered medical practice because they carry out hair transplants. And practice and audit everything. Temperature guns are great to prevent entry when contaminated, and wishes good luck to everybody. So I guess practicing everything is you know, key, isn't it? Making
absolutely. We definitely really put a big emphasis into, you know, our practice, and I think also the other thing that we did is that we have a constant list so that we have a timesheet for people in the premises, and we're going to hold them for like a 14-day period also. We've asked our clients to let us know if they aren't feeling well. And I think that advice of what's just been given is excellent. I think we do need that.
Definitely. And LJ Carter has just said, are wearing visors mandatory? And they've seen conflicting information. This is making them feel anxious, the not knowing.
I think in the UK, it's optional to wear one or the other, isn't it? You can either wear a visor or a face mask. I don't think you have to wear both. But
Yeah.
I would say that anyone concerned with that, I wouldn't worry too much about wearing a visor, for example, because at least with a visor, it covers the entire face, but it isn't on your face. So it's going to be a less stifling experience, and you can ultimately see through it, so it's going to make your interaction with the client easier. So I wouldn't worry too much about the visor situation. They're not particularly uncomfortable.
Definitely. And I think it's definitely worth checking our website. We've got a link to the official government guidance, and as far as I'm aware, a visor is compulsory in the UK. Yeah. So the mask is the optional part, but the visor is compulsory. But as Daniel said, actually, in some ways, a visor is easier to wear if you don't want to wear a mask and you'll choose the visor, or you can wear both. I mean, I guess that's up to you, but the visor is compulsory. And I think Daniel Berry has just jumped in and said it's mandatory to wear a visor in the UK. Obviously, different places, it's different things, but there's the answer to that. If it's making you feel anxious, hopefully we've helped you with that one. Well, guys, we're running out of time. This is absolutely so before we go, I'd love for you both to just give your final words of wisdom and maybe just some reassurance to our viewers who are maybe feeling anxious about either going back to the salon, or if they're in Ireland, already being in the salon and this new kind of workspace that they're in every day. What would be your kind of final thoughts or words of wisdom or hints and tips that you'd like to share with everyone to reassure them?
Do you want to go first, Sarah?
Well, what I would say is, first of all, the best of luck to everybody. Make sure your team, the communication stays intact with your team, and that we're all on the same page. Enjoy your work, enjoy your clients. I have to be honest, it's been fabulous to be back, and it's lovely to see people that really love you and enjoy your work. That feeling for me would bring emotion to me, and it's a lovely feeling to see people smile again, people happy. And the other thing I would say is, like, know your worth. I think it's been a real realization of our worth in our industry. I think we have I feel so privileged to be a part of our industry, and I think that it's a really beautiful time for us. We've never felt so wanted in the whole world. We've never felt so wanted, and I think I just want to say I love all my fellow hairdressers around the world. Lots of Wella love as always, but it's been absolutely amazing to be able to kind of share some tips. I'm here anytime. If anyone ever has any questions, Sarah Mason Creative, you can write to me. You know, and I think the other thing is that I would say is keep your team educated. Wella have a massive platform there at education.wella.com, and I've been advising my team. They've even gone back to even the basics for colour and stuff like that, to kind of refresh and recap from young to whatever age. Some of my senior stylists have said, Sarah, I'm afraid of an extended regrowth, and it's just because they feel they haven't seen this before. And actually, in fact, when it's in the chair physically, it's not actually as bad. It's an inch and a quarter, really. So education is key. Keep the communication 100%. Check in with your team, salon managers, salon owners. Make sure you're around to check in with your team. Make sure your team are okay. And I know you have to have eyes in the back of your head at the minute. I know that's how I feel. But just keep an eye on your client base. Keep an eye on, that everything is okay. That's really would be the strongest message. And lots of love.
Oh, that's a lovely message there, Sarah.
I would definitely say take care of yourself. Remember that it is okay not to feel okay. We're going into a situation that is stressful, but ultimately we're going back to something that we love. So managing your stress and anxiety is just a simple case of being aware of how you feel, communicating, talk to your colleagues, talk to your management if there's any worries and concerns. And ultimately remember that this is a period that will pass. It is going to be difficult at the beginning, but the more we do it, the easier it will get. And just don't be too hard on yourself. And as Sarah said, good luck and best of love and wishes to all of my hairdressing friends out there.
And I guess it's a strange situation in that everyone is in exactly the same boat, aren't they? We are all in this together. I know it sounds cheesy, but we are, aren't we? So that should be reassuring for everyone.
There's been super support, Laura. Like the industry, do you know what? There's no industry like our industry. Like the live fees that went on the whole. Like I did some myself and Daniel, we've been watching HJ. Like the live fees, the education. Like it's amazing how, as hairdressers, that we're such physical people that we all just stepped into a new zone and said, right, let's just all go digital.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
I mean, that says it all. I think it's a fact. We really stepped up the mark, and you're not seeing that in other industry. You weren't going to see builders teaching other builders how to lay blocks. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
You know?
By Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, and you can do that education, can't you, at home on your dolly head? You can kind of practice.
Of course you can.
There's so much. There's the Wella have we have the global page on Facebook as well. Andrew Dunn's global page, absolutely fabulous. There's been lots of live footage. I've done some colour there myself and some different tutorials.
It's really brought us together as an industry, and we were already a really supportive industry anyway, but I think Sarah's right. It's pushed us so much further and brought us so much closer together.
Yeah,
being able to physically do hair.
Definitely, and we're getting a lot of love as well. We've got Amelia saying that she's absolutely loved it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that as well. Catherine saying really positive vibes. Samantha Sinian saying excited but a little nervous. We've got this though. Marie Rice McDonald saying thanks everyone, great words of wisdom. Lee Gammon, fab guys, thanks for this, good luck to everyone. So lots of love and positivity going on, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's positive vibes that are going to get us through it.
100%.
Definitely. And
just enjoy it. I would say it's just enjoy it.
Definitely. And thank you so much for everyone for tuning in earlier, because we've obviously done this seminar a bit earlier, webinar a bit earlier, because obviously Sarah is about to do a full day's worth of clients in the salon.
Yes, I have a full day with clients now, and you know it's amazing. People say, you know, are you jam packed? No, we're not jam packed because we've marked off every second chair that no one can sit in it.
Yeah.
So it's controlled, and it's the one thing I'd say: keep your salon in control. If you're in control of it, you will all be fine. Just be in control.
I think that's a great tip. And Daniel, he's got up bright and early for this, which gets him back ready for the getting up for work. So maybe that's
been out of bed for the entire lockdown.
This is good practice for you, isn't it, Daniel?
It is. It really is good practice. I've released my inner 15-year-old. I've just lounged around watching Marvel films all day.
And why not? Why not? And if it helps for you to feel less anxious, then that's a good thing, isn't it?
It's a great thing. I've really made the most of the downtime.
Definitely. And I guess that's another tip for these last few days for people that are preparing, is to have a bit of me time as well.
Make the most of it. You've got a couple of days left of just being able to sit and relax and chill. And make the most of it.
But if you can do it with your PP on to get used to it, even better.
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's been an absolutely fantastic session. Thank you so much to Daniel and Sarah for sharing.
Thank you so much for having us.
And I'm sure they'd be more than happy for you to reach out to them if you are feeling anxious and you have any specific questions and you didn't necessarily want to share it in this space. They're both very open to that, which is fantastic.
We're always here to help.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much to both of you, and best of luck with reopening, and obviously best of luck to you, Sarah, for your clients that you're seeing today.
Thanks so much.
Thrilled to see you in the salon. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.